Wow, stories.
Am I the idiot for refusing to be my husband's caregiver and demanding he step up for our family? I, 25-year-old female, and my husband, 25-year-old male, have been married for just short of 4 years. In that time, we have had 2 children and learned that he has ADHD. He worships the ground I walk on. He would feed me grapes and serve my food on a silver platter if I asked. But he won't do a single chore around the house. Can't maintain a train of thought long enough to clean up after himself. Refuses to regularly take his medication. Won't go to work. He works from home, despite me expressing concern on many occasions that he's going to lose his job. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so that thought is extra terrifying. We recently purchased a property that turned into a whole flip instead of a few minor upgrades we thought we were going to have to do. He never goes to work on it, so we're stuck staying at my dad's. His response is that he just loves me so much and wants to spend all his time with me. I am constantly encouraging him to leave and go do his responsibilities because they need to be done. But truthfully, I feel smothered. I have to remind him to put lotion and medicine on his skin, horrible eczema, probably psoriasis, and I have to remind him to shower. So all in all, the only things I can guarantee that he will do are pay the bills that are all on auto pay and take out the trash, but not run it to the landfill. All of this has been wearing on me for 4 years. I actually quit my job 3 years ago because we were going to get a divorce if I didn't, because he expected me to manage everything in the house and work full-time as an intensive care unit nurse because that's what his mom did. So all of this obviously sucks. And I feel like I'm living with a stubborn, overgrown toddler who can't make a decision to save his life, but argues with me when I try to make one. But on top of all of that, he recently had the 4th person in his life, over the span of our relationship, come to him to ask if I was taking advantage of him and if I understood that he needed to work. Y'all, I just about exploded. I feel like I'm going crazy because I know I'm dragging him through life and he's barely hitting the bare minimum, but apparently he's presenting me in a negative light to those around him. And when I ask how he presents me, he says fairly. I feel like I'm going crazy, and I have been begging for therapy, but after another person asked if I was taking advantage, I feel like I'm just done. What am I even fighting for at this point? To drag a man-child around just to be viewed as the bad guy from the outside? The only reason I'm still here is because of the kids, but I don't know if that's better either. I don't know. Send help. To add some clarity, 1. He is a wonderful father. I couldn't have picked a better dad for my children, minus some forgetfulness. He loves them fully and takes amazing care of them, never acts like a babysitter, etc. 2. He works from home. When I say he won't go to work, I mean he won't go to his office upstairs and start working. It's regular for him to have a 3 to 4 hour workday. 3. I'd be thrilled if he just worked and cleaned up after himself. I don't need him to split chores or anything like that. Obviously, help is a plus, but working a job and working on fixing up a house is an incredible weight to carry if he'd go and do those things. 4. Also, yes, I was a little sassy. I wrote my fully transparent feelings on a throwaway account for a reason. I'd never speak to him or anyone we knew about him like this. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Girl, you have to remind him to shower. To shower. Imagine doing all the stuff you're doing for the next 30 years. Divorce and run, immediately. Go get a job and live your best life. Even as a single mom, your life will be way easier. Comment 2. What did I just read? He just loves you so much and has to be with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not the advocate. Stop being a married single mom. In my opinion, your husband is at least partially using weaponized incompetence with you. Now, for the update, I'm not sure if anyone will even remember my post from last week. I was just updating on how my husband's been slacking at home, and I was feeling pretty much done with his whole act. 6 days have passed since then, and I can confidently say that things have gotten worse. Like, a lot. I can barely keep up, and something's gotta change. My husband has avoided going to his office again, and he's left piles of work untouched. I just don't know how he thinks this is gonna work. The kids had a birthday party last weekend. and I managed everything alone. Well, I did have help from my family, but my husband didn't do anything. It was just like, here's the kids, here's the cake I bought, and that's it. My parents were there, and my dad asked my husband about his job, trying to be supportive. It was kind of sweet, honestly, but my husband just laughed it off. I could see the frustration on his face. He was trying to protect himself from my parents' scrutiny, but it was so obvious that he was just over it. I should have taken that as a sign. After the party, I found a text on my husband's phone from a coworker asking if he was still working on a project. I confronted him about the text, and instead of explaining, he changed the subject. He just started talking about how he thought the kids' party went well. I was just like, what? I need you to explain why you're avoiding work, and you're talking about how the kids had a good time? My sister called me the next day, asking if my husband was okay since he seemed really distant at the party. I decided to ask him directly, which led to a heated exchange about his responsibilities. He accused me of nagging him. I pointed out the unfinished chores and asked him how he could avoid his job and still complain about me being a nag. The next day, my brother invited us for a family dinner, hoping to lighten the mood. It only made things worse. During the dinner, my husband just had to make a joke about how I do all the work at home. He laughed, and everyone else joined in. My brother tried to change the topic, but it was so awkward. My parents invited us for lunch the following weekend, and I agreed to bring my husband. He really needed to talk to my dad, and I thought it would be good for him. Instead, my dad told him that he needed to step up and help more. My husband became defensive and argued about how he's trying his best. My dad was like, "No, you're not," and it was just really uncomfortable. That evening, I overheard my husband on a video call with his coworker discussing work struggles. He was saying how he felt like he was failing at work and home, and it broke my heart. I organized a surprise family outing for the kids, planning everything down to the last detail. I told my husband to join us, but he hesitated, saying he had work to do. He grudgingly agreed to come, but I noticed he was distracted the entire time. The outing was a success, but it highlighted how disconnected he was from our family. I decided to keep the momentum going and planned a family game night for the weekend. I invited my parents and siblings, hoping for support and a fun atmosphere. During the game night, I subtly pointed out how my husband often checked his phone for work messages. My brother called him out on it, asking if he was really present with us. My husband got defensive again, leading to an argument in front of everyone. The night ended with my husband storming out, and I was just left there, feeling completely defeated. Later that night, I sent him a message saying I was done carrying the weight alone. My husband eventually came home, and the tension was just so obvious. He didn't even want to talk about what happened after everyone left. He just wanted to go to bed. I've been thinking about it a lot since then, and I know I need to do something. I can't keep doing this alone. Edit. I've been overwhelmed, and reading through the comments helped me realize that I need to take more responsibility for my own happiness. I had a heart-to-heart with my husband and told him that I would be taking a break from managing everything. This means no more planning events, no more initiating deep conversations, and no more taking care of his work-related issues.